Welcome to One Good Thing in Games. So today's good news takes us back to the late 90s and to a service that was widely ahead of its time. Before digital storefronts, before downloads are normal, Sega launched one of the very first console-based digital distribution platforms, Sega Channel, on the Sega Genesis, or the Sega Mega Drive, depending where you live. So this started in 1995. Sega Channel worked through, in America, it was only available, your TV cable package. You plugged a special adapter into your Sega Genesis, added the Sega Channel add-on, used dial-up, and you had access to a rotating library of games, demos, tips, and even exclusives you downloaded onto the console. This was in the era of dial-up internet. Sega was delivering full games straight into living rooms. It was bold, it was strange, and it was years ahead to where the industry would eventually go. Here's a quick ad for said service.
This is the best way not to get your license on the first try.
And this is the best way to get video games. Download Sega Channel, over 70 hot games a month for your Genesis machine. No lines, no limits, no late fees, just unlimited play on your TV. Sega Channel, less than $15 a month. Call your cable company now. Sega Channel, the only way to get it is to get it.
Extreme 90s there, but yeah, there was a big library. But Sega Channel was shut down in 1998, and when it did, most of the data vanished with it. In fact, it's become a bit more of a myth. People talked about it, but when the service went down, you could no longer play the games, and a lot of the ROMs are not online. Cartridges, there's nothing physical left to achieve. To archive. Preservation was almost impossible. Well, that changed this week. A preservation team led by the Video Game History Foundation has recovered over 100 previous lost Sega Channel ROMs, including Sega system software, prototypes, and exclusive games thought to be permanently lost. This includes Garfield. That's why the lasagna's there. Caught in the Act, The Lost Levels, and The Flintstones. Both never released anywhere else. In fact, these were in-progress cancelled games that were reworked into Sega Channel games. So this is the first time you've been able to play them unless you had that service back in the 90s. Also, a little oddities. Full games are sometimes cut down for file size. Sonic 3D was split into two parts, or you had a version of Mortal Kombat 3 which only had half the characters. Now these curiosities are back from oblivion. This recovery came from a combination of former Sega Channel executive Michael Sherrock, personal archives, and a Sega community member who had rescued old tape backups containing internal Sega Channel data. Together, these sources allowed historians to reconstruct not just the games, but how the service worked, how it was marketed, and even plans for a cancelled successor that would have brought the idea to PCs. This isn't just nostalgia. It means we now have a digital backup of every unique Sega Genesis game released in the US. These were missing, the set wasn't complete. It's a huge win for game history, proof that digital-only media can be preserved if the people care enough to do the work. And the companies play a game as well. Or the people behind those companies. This is a reminder what the community can achieve when preservation matters. Lost games found, history restored. And that's the one good thing in games I am sharing with you today. I hope you enjoyed that. I'll have a new one for you next week.